Oh my, you all, I'm so excited about this video. If you have a basket hoard like I do, this video is for you. Project number 1. We're gonna go ahead and get some dark going on immediately. However, there are plenty of different styles of projects in this video. Stay tuned, you're not gonna wanna miss them. I'm starting out with this dark green, kind of chippy basket that's got some black wax on it. We're going to turn this into a piece of art. I need this very lightweight frame painted in this color Sheep by Folk Art. I'm giving it a really chunky, textury painting because I want this to be aged like our basket. This paint is super thick. I've had it a long time. It needs to be used up, but the chunks in it and the lovely texture it's giving is just amazing. And I take my heat tool, get a little bit of crackle going on so that when I do this lovely brown wax, look at what it's going to turn into. The wax just gets down in all of that texture, blends this in so well. Wait till you see the art print that's going to go in this. Once it gets in the basket, I am in love. I decided I wanted this art or framed art to pop a little bit, so I'm going to put a little thin piece of wood as a backing, and I'm going to go ahead and add some TITEBOND glue and some hot glue to attach it to the basket and do the same thing to attach it to the frame. That way it pops just a little bit and it's sturdy on there. Get ready, our print is here. Isn't this beautiful? Now this is a fall print, of course, has a very dark and moody feel to it. I thought the basket being dark around it would look awesome, and I'm adding a little bit of autumn gold rub and buff to bring out the warmth in the print. Let me know what you all think about this one. This next project, you all, we are going to have so much fun. You better grab out a bunch of paints because that is what this one is all about. We're going to take this gorgeous little basket, and I do love it the way it is, but we're going to paint it and make it even more beautiful. Now, I have added a IOD birdsong mold on here using some TITEBOND glue, quick and thick, and adding this beautiful folk art color in Cascade. Now, it's not going to matter if we get a full coat of this on here because wait until you see what we do with this. It's not going to be this color in the end, and I'm so excited for you all to see it. I love this next step on this project. So I'm using some polygloss, adding it to my bird and a few places on the basket, but just random. And what I'm going to do is add some gold leafing. I just want a little bit to shine through on this bird and just on a few little places on the front of this basket. I wanted to let you all know my favorite project is at the end of the video. I can't wait for you all to see it. And I want to take this time to say thank you to all of my subscribers and welcome to all of the new subscribers. I love reading all the comments from all of you all. Now starts the fun part. We are going to add several different colors that I've picked out to go on top of my base color. What you want to think about when you're doing something like this is pick your favorite color that you want for a base and then add accentuating colors on top randomly in different places to get the sort of painted look that you want. This is so much fun and you really cannot mess this up. You can see that I've used this elegant teal color. It's a folk art paint. All of these are folk art paints in the blues and greens. And I'm just going to randomly add these until I get this the color that I want. I'm going to let these blues and darker greens dry. Not all the way, but just a little because I want to add this really light sage shadow color from Folk Art in just a few areas, especially on the front of this. And I don't want it to blend in too much and get too dark because I really want this to show up. This lighter green is really important for the next step. Now these colors can be used all year long. We're going to go ahead and add some of this DIY clay paint in Summer Crush. You can use any orange color paint for this. I had this one on hand and I'm just kind of outlining a little bit, going in around those lighter green areas. And I'm also going to go around my bird and do kind of like we did before, randomly put this around until I get it the way that I want. Once I get this orange on, this piece will be finished. I end up going over the whole thing with a polygloss coat because the bird has that gold on it and the basket just needed a little bit of gloss. I don't generally use glossy clear coats, but I felt like this basket definitely deserved a glossy clear coat. I want to know what you guys think about this one, and do you have a base color that you would love to add different colors to? Let me know what color that would be in the comments below. I almost forgot, before we do the poly clear coat, I put a little bit of gold rub and buff just to kind of accent some areas and blend in a little bit with that gold that we already have on there. Project number 3. This one, we are giving new life to it. Now, it is just a neutral color basket. I found this in my stash. It looks like it used to have handles on it. We're gonna fix that and you're not gonna be able to tell they were even there. So I grabbed these just wooden blocks I had in my stash, and I decided I was gonna kind of cat a corner those to where they almost look like little wheels, but of course they're not. And what I did was just use screws to go from the inside of the basket down into them so that they would be sturdy and stay on for a long time. We're going to use my little nippers to get rid of what was left of those handles, and then I'm going to sand that area down so you really can't tell there was handles there. The next step, I'm going to paint this black using a brush. Now you can spray paint any of these baskets. It's definitely quicker and a lot easier, but I'm limited to what I can do and I need to be doing this inside, so I'm just using a very large brush, making quick work of this paint. Did I tell you all how easy this one was going to be? I grabbed one of my stencils out. This is a French stencil. I think I got this off Amazon a couple years ago. I'm just using a small and a medium-sized brush, stenciling some of that sheep, very thick chalk paint on here, getting that completely filled in, pulling the stencil off. I just have it taped on with a little bit of tape. And what I do is I go in and I just stress it some with a little hand sander. Now you want to be really careful when you are sanding cream or white colored paint on black. I found that if you sand it a little bit and take your brush, just a brush that doesn't have anything on it, and brush off the excess, it doesn't smear. So definitely don't use anything wet to wipe anything off. Just make sure that you're only using like a dry brush, and it worked out perfectly. And I distressed the whole basket with the little hand sander. Once I finished that, I sealed this with some clear wax and then brought out some dark brown wax to finish this piece off. I love how this brown wax gets down in those sanded areas, and I get it on kind of thick on the black, so it's like a black brown, if you can see right there. I love how this one turns out, and I put a lot of books in it in my art studio, and I can't wait for you all to see the photos. Those are coming up. I hope you love this one. Project number 4. These baskets are always hanging around. You can get them just about anywhere and they're super cheap. Of course, I thrifted mine. I wanted to put a different spin on this type of basket, so I thought, what better way than to decoupage it? Now, you could paint this white before decoupaging to give your paper a good pop, but I thought that nice warm tone coming through this industrial paper I'm going to use would make a big difference because it's got a lot of grays, whites, and blacks, and I thought, why not have some warmth underneath that? I'm going to be using this, I think it's called Grunge Numbers by Roycycled. It's a decoupage paper. If you want any of these products or some of the products I'm using, you can get them at Aunt Bee's Attic. The link will be in my description box below. I'm going to go ahead and cut off a couple of sections that kind of look like license plates and spritz them with my mister bottle, getting them pretty wet. Now normally I wouldn't, but this basket's really dry and I want the paper to stretch really well, getting down in those crevices. I go ahead and use my little mini squeegee to kind of push them into the crevices. I can't wait to see what this one looks like once it dries because I know it'll shrink down in those crevices as well. Once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and do both sides and the bottom of this. We're going to do something else, actually a couple more steps to this basket. I think you're going to like it. I let this dry overnight. Now that it's dry, I'm going to go ahead and take my little sander and go around all those edges around the top of the basket just to pull off a little bit of that excess and give it a nice clean look all the way around. Now you all know I had to paint the inside and the handle of this black. Once I let that dry, I decided to go ahead and use some black wax all over the decoupage paper and wipe it mostly back, making sure that I left it in those crevices. And then I decided, I went ahead and clear waxed the black paint. I wanted to add this gray on there because I thought that that would give a really cool look instead of just this flat black paint. And it did. I went ahead and added some of that also to the decoupage paper. I just couldn't help myself. I can't wait to hear what you all think about this one. This next project, I could not help myself. We went and saw the new Beetle Juice movie, so I had to give this a little bit of a Beetle Juice-esque look. Okay, so all I could see when I looked at this was black and white stripes and one of those little round circles that make you look like you are, or can turn you into mesmerized or hypnotized. So I decided to take some all-in-one black chalk paint and go around every other piece on this. I knew I wanted this to be some type of wall shelf or have something inside of it to turn it into something different than a basket. So I found this little bottle that I had in my supplies and I grabbed this green bug. It looks like a green beetle to me. It may be something else. I'm definitely not a bug person per se as far as names. So I went ahead and put this rub-on this little jar to start the colors that I needed. Once I get the rub-on, you just take some pressure and rub it on the jar and then pull it off, pull the backing off as you go. I needed something to attach this to the basket, and I thought I would use this pipe cleaner, which has wire in it. It would give it a little bit of a festive look and work for the wire part. So I just twisted it around the back and then stuck the two pieces through the holes in the basket and twisted them together behind the basket. Now comes the fun part. I just looked through my florals and little things I could stick in the jar that would match the Beetle Juice colors, which was purple, green, black and white striped, and I found this little bat ring and I put it around these little green berries, kind of melted the back of the ring to stick to it, and this one is finished. You all have to let me know, does this look Beetlejuice a little bit to you all? If so, leave me a letter B or leave me a little bug emoji in the comment section below. I will tell you the first Beetlejuice is my favorite. This next project, I definitely had to paint a basket green, so I grabbed this Christmas basket. Now we're going to turn this into something definitely different than what it is. Now at the time I wasn't sure how I was going to take that wire off or take it completely off. I needed it, so I just went ahead and put it out of my way. I used this antique green by Folk Art. Isn't that beautiful? I went ahead and gave that green some sanding to bring back some of that basket color. We're going to wax that a clear wax because we need to put a beautiful brown wax on top of this. We're also going to use that brown wax to go over the natural basket color that I left because I want that just a little bit darker. So after I get that clear wax off, I just go around and wipe off a little bit of it, and then I get my dark brown wax going around the natural part of the basket, getting that a little darker to go with the green, and then I go all over the basket, especially where I sanded, to get down in those crevices and to darken that color as well. Now we haven't done a junky video in a while, and I had to dig through some of my junk and put some on this basket. So I found this old number 1, and it had a couple of holes in the top of it. So I went ahead and did touch up that one with some black paint. But before I put this on, I wanted to dingy it up just to give it a little bit of that brown wax to blend in with the basket a little bit more. Now we're using that wire that was originally on the basket, and we're gonna put that through each hole into the basket, twisting it inside the basket to hold it in place. Of course, I love how this one turned out because green and black are my favorite colors. I hope you like it too. All right, my friends, we are at the last and final project, my favorite. We're going to start out with this adorable basket. Isn't this just a doll? I love the shape. I love the handles. Wait till you see what we do with this. I added a little mold to this, and now I'm painting it black, not getting too crazy if some of the wicker shows through. What we're going to do is I'm going to let that dry, and then I want to add a transfer to this little frame that I've added onto the little basket, and this is from that Prima transfer. I think it's called Collector. I added the little framed mushrooms on my frame, and now what I want to do is take some things and kind of go around it, almost like the items are coming out from behind the frame. And I'm starting with this green gray fabric. It was half off or 40% off at Michael's, and I love this color. So I've cut a few little strands off, and I'm just going to start hot gluing them, making them look like they're coming out from behind the frame. I go ahead and do the same thing with some florals, greenery, just little things that I think goes well with the mushrooms and the whole kind of foresty thing I'm going for. Now, I'm not going to be able to show you all of this because, you know, it did take a little bit of time with thinking out how my thought process works. But like I said, I just add these kind of behind the frame, if I can, through the basket, gluing them down, and I use different color ferns, some of that cloth, and I also use some green tree sprigs just to give it a little bit of a creepy look because, you know, that's my aesthetic. I love that. Now, here we have the finished front, but we still have a couple things to do. I love this. This is why this one's my favorite. I also found some brown kind of sparkly fabric that I stuck behind the florals. Now what we need to do is add some of this Prima Art Alchemy wax. I get a lot of questions about these. You can get these on Amazon. They're in tubes now. They're by Prima. They're Art Alchemy, and I'm using the green, I think it's called Lucky Green, and I'm just taking my brush and dipping it down in there and then rubbing it all over, showing you up close how that changes the black look. Once I finish that, I take some gold Rub and Buff and I go around the frame, around the handles, around the edges of the frame, and just bring out, you'll see, right now you can't see the ornateness of the frame, but once I put some of that green and some of that gold Rub and Buff on it, it definitely shows the ornate top part of it. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. Hit that like button. Give me a comment below. Let me know that you stayed until the end by typing mushroom or giving me a mushroom emoji. If you click on my face at the end of this video, the round circle, it will automatically subscribe you to my channel. Also, if you like these hack videos using just a stash of one item, let me know because I plan on adding more of them to this series. And I'll see you all real soon in my next video.